All right, welcome to your deep dive. This time, we're going to be taking a look at HIMS and HERS,
Mhm.
that telehealth platform everybody's talking about. We've got all the goods for you today. We've got their Q3 2024 reports.
Oh,
We've got some press releases. We've even got some social media buzz.
nice.
But we're not just going to be crunching numbers. We really want to go beyond the surface here,
Yeah.
see what all this means, not just for HIMS and HERS, but for, their strategy and for telehealth in general.
Right.
Think of things like rapid growth, Amazon kind of lurking in the shadows, the
Mhm.
FDA and their whole stance on compounded medications,
Mhm.
and even some whispers about international expansion. So all that packed into one pretty insightful session.
I think what's really fascinating here is that we're not just looking at a company's performance.
Right.
We're really looking at an industry that's kind of evolving before our very eyes.
Yeah.
Telehealth is changing so rapidly, and Hims and Hers is right there on the front lines.
Definitely. And their Q3, performance was pretty impressive. I mean, would
Mhm.
you say over $400 million in revenue?
Now,
A 77% increase year over year.
that's huge.
What really stands out to you about that kind of success?
It's not just the growth.
Right.
It's the profitability that's really, really remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, they went from a net loss last year to a net income of $75.6 million.
Okay.
Their adjusted EBITDA, which, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, more than quadrupled
Wow.
to over $50 million.
Okay.
And this, to me, it shows that they're not just, riding a wave. They're actually building a business that's sustainable and profitable.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, it's one thing to grow rapidly, but it's another thing to do it and become so much more profitable in the process.
Right.
That definitely says something about their trajectory. And their subscriber base now exceeds 2 million. So that's up 44% from last year. And they're making more money per subscriber as well.
Okay.
That monthly online revenue per subscriber hit $67. That's a 24% increase. So people are clearly finding value in what Hims and Hers is offering.
Hmm.
But what is driving that value? I mean, is it just convenience, or is there something else at play here?
Well, I think convenience plays a part,
Right.
but their focus on personalized solutions, I think, is a key differentiator.
Okay.
Over 1 million subscribers, that's more than half their user base, are already using these personalized solutions.
Wow.
And 65% of new subscribers are opting for these plans. It's like they're moving away from that traditional one-size-fits-all approach to healthcare, and they're really recognizing that, people have individual needs
Yeah.
and preferences.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not just about, offering these virtual doctor visits. It's about really tailoring the experience to each person.
Exactly.
But how are these personalized solutions, how are they actually playing out in practice? What are they doing differently?
They're moving into new specialties like weight loss,
Okay.
which is obviously a massive and growing market, especially in the US. And they're utilizing compounded GLP-1 medications for this.
Okay. The GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Social media's been buzzing about them.
Oh, yeah.
And of course the FDA, they've got to put their 2 cents in.
Sure.
They have some opinions on compounded medications.
Uh-huh.
Seems like Hims and Hers is walking a tightrope here.
Well, yeah. I mean, on the one hand,
Yeah.
you have, valid concerns from the
Yeah.
FDA about the safety and the consistency of compounded medications.
Right.
And on the other hand, you have a very real issue of accessibility.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't get name brand GLP-1s
Right.
because of the shortages.
Yeah.
And Hims and Hers actually reports that nearly 80,000 of their users they couldn't get those name brand medications.
Oh.
So they're trying to position themselves as a solution to this
Yeah.
problem, while also acknowledging the complexities and the potential risks involved.
Right. So it's not just about, offering a trendy treatment. It's about
Yeah.
addressing a real need within the system.
Exactly.
But how are they navigating those risks? What are they doing to address those concerns from the FDA?
I think transparency is a big part of their strategy.
Oh, it's
They provide these certificates of analysis for their compounded medications,
right.
which, shows their commitment to quality control. It's like they're saying, look, we understand the concerns, and here's what we're doing to try to mitigate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that approach could be key to building trust, not just with consumers, but with regulators as well.
So it sounds like they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Right.
Meeting this demand, this need, while also acknowledging and proactively trying to address any concerns that people might have.
Yeah.
This weight loss specialty, though, it seems pretty central to their growth plans.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
They're making big investments in this area. They're offering a range of solutions beyond just injectables.
Okay.
They've got oral GLP-1 options that are already bringing in a lot of revenue.
Really?
And they're planning to introduce liraglutide,
Yeah.
the first generic GLP-1, in 2025.
Oh, wow.
So it's clear that they see this as a key driver of future growth.
Yeah, so they're diving headfirst into the weight loss market.
Yeah,
But that comes with its own set of challenges, right?
definitely. Especially with Amazon, they recently launched their own telehealth service for Prime members.
Right, right.
And HIMS and Hers stock initially dipped after that announcement.
Okay.
Although it's showing signs of recovery.
Yeah.
But the question is, how can they differentiate themselves
Right.
and thrive in a market where you've got, a giant like Amazon as a direct competitor?
That's $1 million question.
It is.
Their shareholder letter hinted at kind of a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
They're really doubling down on personalization. So they're tailoring like dosages and titration schedules for these weight loss treatments, taking that individual-centric approach to a whole other level.
Right. And they're emphasizing transparency and brand trust,
Right.
especially when it comes to these compounded medications.
Yeah.
They're talking about their commitment to providing clear information about quality and about pricing.
Okay.
And that can be a big differentiator, I think, in a market where there's a lot of skepticism.
Yeah.
And they're also making their services more accessible.
Okay.
They're offering discounts for specific groups like military personnel, first responders, things like that.
So they're positioning themselves as the trusted, personalized alternative.
Exactly.
To a more generic mass market approach. But it's not just messaging and marketing, right? They're also investing a lot in technology to try to make that patient experience as smooth as possible.
Yeah, they've developed their own proprietary EMR system.
Okay.
Which is designed to be efficient, to make that interaction between the provider and the consumer as smooth as possible, reduce administrative burdens, and enhance safety.
So you're not just relying on, existing off-the-shelf solutions.
Right.
They're building their own infrastructure to support this approach.
Exactly.
And that's a big investment.
It is. And it shows their commitment to creating a really different and personalized healthcare experience. They don't just want to be another telehealth provider.
Right.
They want to be the gold standard. But to do that, they need to make sure their technology is, cutting edge, user-friendly, and accessible.
And speaking of accessible, I mean, what good is personalized care if it's only for a select few?
Right.
And their shareholder letter really highlights their efforts to reach a diverse population, including people in lower income areas, people over the age of 65. They even said they have over 400,000 subscribers from zip codes with average household incomes below $50,000.
Wow.
And over 100,000 subscribers over the age of 65.
Yeah.
So it's clear they're making a conscious effort to broaden access.
Yeah, and it's a smart move, I think, from a business perspective and from a social impact perspective.
Yeah.
By targeting those demographics that are often underserved by traditional healthcare, they're not just expanding their market.
Right.
They're actually addressing a real need.
Yeah.
And I think that can build a lot of goodwill and brand loyalty. But let's not forget about their secret weapon, MedMatch.
MedMatch. Now I know a little bit about AI, but I'm curious. How does MedMatch actually work in practice? What does it do?
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it analyzes patient data.
Okay.
Takes into account their medical history, their symptoms, their treatment goals, even their personal preferences.
Wow.
And then it recommends the most effective treatment options.
Okay.
And its algorithms are constantly learning and evolving based on a huge amount of data.
So it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about using that data to personalize the treatment.
Exactly.
But some people might be a little uncomfortable with that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the idea of AI playing such a central role in their healthcare.
Right.
How are they addressing those concerns?
I think it's a really important point. There's a certain level of trust that needs to be built when you introduce AI into healthcare.
Yeah.
Transparency is key.
Mm-hmm.
HIMS and HERS really needs to explain how this works,
Right.
what data it uses, how it ensures privacy and security.
Yeah.
They need to show people that AI is a tool that can enhance human expertise, not replace it.
Yeah. It's a tough balance.
It is.
Right. Embracing that cutting edge technology while also making sure that people feel comfortable with how it's being used.
Right.
But they also have that clever routing system
Oh, yeah.
that's supposed to connect subscribers with the right support staff quickly and efficiently.
It's like they're trying to anticipate every little, pain point
Yeah.
and just smooth out the entire healthcare experience.
Yeah. So they're not just offering individual services, they're building a whole ecosystem
Exactly.
that supports that whole patient journey.
Yeah.
That's ambitious, wouldn't you say?
Very ambitious, especially when you consider how competitive the landscape is.
Right.
But they're clearly not afraid of a challenge.
Yeah.
They're betting big on personalized healthcare,
Yeah.
and they're using every tool they have,
Hmm.
technology, data, partnerships,
Yeah.
to make that vision a reality. Whether they can succeed in the long run, though, that remains to be seen.
Especially with Amazon breathing down their neck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big question mark.
They've had an impressive run so far, but it's a fast-changing landscape.
It is.
They'll need to be, agile, adaptable, and maybe even a little bit lucky
A little bit of luck never hurts.
to stay ahead.
Right.
But we'll dive into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we'll unpack the competitive landscape a little more. We'll talk about the potential threats and opportunities, and we'll really examine whether this personalized approach can stand the test of time.
Sounds good. We just spent some time looking at, their impressive performance financially and their focus on this personalized healthcare. But let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
Take a look at the bigger picture,
Yeah.
the competitive landscape.
Right.
I mean, we all know telehealth is getting crowded, right?
It is.
You've got big players like Amazon jumping in.
Yeah.
How do you see HIMS and HERS kind of positioning themselves in this increasingly competitive space?
It's definitely a dynamic market.
Oh.
But what I find interesting about HIMS and HERS is their focus. Many providers are going for that general virtual care,
Right.
but HIMS and HERS is really focused on specialized care.
Okay.
They've kind of carved out these niches in areas like sexual health, dermatology, mental health,
Yeah.
and now weight loss.
So less about being a one-stop shop and more about, hey, if you've got this particular need,
Right.
we're the ones to come to.
Exactly. And that allows them to develop deeper expertise
Yeah.
and really tailor their services to those specific needs.
And that really ties back into that whole personalized solution thing.
I think it does.
It's not just about convenience. It's about getting the care that's right for you.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, we talked about MedMatch earlier.
Yeah.
That AI-powered tool.
Right.
Can we dig into that a little bit more? How does that work in practice? What's the potential impact?
Absolutely. What sets MedMatch apart, I think, is its sophistication.
Okay.
It goes beyond just, a simple symptom checker.
Yeah.
It really delves into your medical history,
Yeah.
analyzes symptoms, considers treatment goals, even personal preferences
Wow.
to recommend those treatment options.
Okay.
And the algorithms are constantly learning, evolving,
Right.
drawing from a huge data set to refine those recommendations.
So it's more than just matching symptoms to treatment.
It is.
It's using all this data
Yeah.
to create these individualized plans.
Right.
But I mean, is there a risk of relying too much on AI?
Oh, absolutely. It's a double-edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
and it needs to be implemented very thoughtfully,
Yeah.
ethically. I think HIMS and HERS needs to be transparent
Right.
about how it works, what data it uses, how it protects your privacy, your security. It's really important that they emphasize that AI is a tool
Yeah.
to enhance,
Right.
not replace, human expertise.
It's a delicate balance
It is.
between, embracing all this cool new technology
Right.
while also making sure that people still feel like they're in control.
Right.
Okay, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, right?
Uh-huh.
Amazon.
Yeah.
They're in the telehealth game now.
They are.
How big of a threat do you think they are to HIMS and HERS?
It's definitely a game changer. They've got the customer base, they've got the brand, they've got the reputation.
Yeah.
But I think Hims and Hers might have a few advantages here.
Really? Okay, I'm intrigued. What are those?
So Amazon's going broad, right? They want to do everything.
Right.
But Hims and Hers has really established themselves in this specialized telehealth space.
Okay.
They've spent years building that expertise
Right.
in those specific areas
Yeah.
that Amazon is just now kind of starting to explore.
So they've already staked their claim
They have.
in these niche markets.
Yeah, they've got a head start.
And they're continuing to innovate in those areas.
Exactly. I mean, their expansion into weight loss
Right.
with the GLP-1s, that's a strategic move.
Mm-hmm.
That really addresses a need and sets them apart from what Amazon's doing right now.
So they're not just reacting, they're being proactive.
Right.
But I mean, let's be real. Amazon has a ton of resources.
They do.
Can a company like Hims and Hers really compete with that in the long run?
It's a David and Goliath situation, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Hims and Hers specialization, their focus on personalized care, that could be their slingshot.
Okay.
They're not trying to be everything to everyone.
Right.
They're trying to be the best at what they do.
Yeah.
And I think that can be really powerful.
So it's a battle of strategies.
It is.
Hims and Hers is betting on quality, customization.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon's betting on scale, reach.
Right.
Be interesting to see how it plays out.
It will.
But their ambition doesn't stop at the U.S., right?
Doesn't.
They've hinted at international expansion.
They have.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a bold move, especially given the competition they're facing here in the U.S.
Right.
But it could be a really smart way to diversify their revenue
Yeah.
and tap into those markets that might not be as saturated as the U.S.
So kind of spread the risk a little bit and maybe get a first mover advantage in some countries before Amazon shows up. They're already testing things out in the UK
They are.
with plans to expand further there in 2025, potentially including, the Hers line.
Okay.
And there are even rumors of Australia, Germany, Canada.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty global vision.
It is, but going global, I mean, that's not just about, setting up shop somewhere.
No.
It comes with its own set of challenges.
Definitely navigating regulations,
Right.
adapting services to different cultures, building brand awareness in new markets.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a big undertaking. It'll require careful planning and execution.
Right.
They'll need to be culturally sensitive, understand those local healthcare systems,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even form partnerships to navigate all of that.
So they're not underestimating the challenges here.
No, they're not.
But their shareholder letter suggests they're pretty confident
Okay.
that they can adapt, that they can scale their platform globally.
Mm.
Do you think their technology, their approach, is it really transferable to all these different contexts?
It's a good question. The platform itself, the technology, is definitely scalable.
Okay.
But the success of that personalized approach is going to depend on how well they tailor it to local needs.
So it's not just about exporting what they're doing here.
No.
It's about adapting it
Yeah.
to each market.
It's like tailoring a suit, right?
Exactly.
You got to make adjustments for the perfect fit.
You got to make it work.
Yeah.
It's a good analogy. And it highlights that, personalization isn't just about those individual preferences. It's also about the cultural context, right? And how healthcare works in that specific place.
Absolutely.
But let's not forget about the tech.
Yeah.
That underpins everything.
Right.
We haven't really talked much about their EMR system. What can you tell us about that?
So that proprietary EMR system, it's another key element of their strategy.
Right.
It's designed specifically for telehealth.
Okay.
So it allows for really seamless, efficient communication
Mm-hmm.
between providers and patients.
Right.
It streamlines the whole process from scheduling appointments to managing prescriptions,
Okay.
all within a secure platform.
So it's not just about the app
No,
that patients use.
Right.
It's about having a whole system in place.
a robust system
Yeah.
on the back end
Yeah.
to support everything.
So this integrated approach is really important
It is.
for delivering that personalized experience. It's how they, capture and analyze data, track progress, and tailor their services.
In real time.
It's like a central nervous system
No, it is.
for the whole operation, right?
Yeah.
Connecting everything and everyone
Mm-hmm.
to deliver that coordinated, efficient care.
That's a great way to put it.
And I think it's that focus on integration. both with technology and with care delivery, that could be a real advantage for them.
Absolutely.
As this market gets even more competitive,
It could.
they're not just riding the telehealth wave.
Right.
They're trying to shape it,
Right.
pushing the boundaries,
Yeah.
but they've got challenges.
Of course they do.
Big ones, from Amazon and from just the complexity of healthcare itself.
Right.
They've shown they're willing to adapt, innovate, challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
And maybe that's their biggest asset as they navigate all of this.
Right.
So we've talked about a lot their strategy, their international plans, the tech behind everything.
Yeah.
But the story's not over, right?
It isn't.
For HIMS and HERS, or for telehealth in general.
Right.
So in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to step back.
Okay.
Look at some of the bigger trends shaping the industry.
Yeah.
And what it all means for HIMS and HERS of future. All right, so we've looked at, the numbers, the strategies, this whole dance with Amazon, but this deep dive, it's bigger than just one company, right?
It is.
What does this story tell us about telehealth as a whole?
You're right. I mean, HIMS and HERS, it's a great example, but it's just one piece of a much bigger picture. And the telehealth landscape is changing so fast.
Yeah.
Understanding those bigger trends, it's really key to understanding where healthcare is going.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What's shaping the future of telehealth? What are the big forces at play here?
Well, one thing's for sure, telehealth it's not a niche thing anymore.
Right.
It's mainstream.
Yeah.
And the pandemic, I mean, it was disruptive, but it really accelerated this shift.
It's like telehealth was kind of simmering there.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic just turned up the heat.
It did.
And all of a sudden, boom, everyone's doing virtual care.
Right. And that forced adoption.
Yeah.
It led to a big change in what people expect.
Okay.
I mean, the experience, the convenience,
right,
the accessibility, and there's no going back.
Right. Once you get a taste of that,
Yeah,
you don't want to go back to the old way.
exactly.
So how is all this impacting the traditional healthcare system? Are the big players adapting?
It's mixed. Some are seeing the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And they're investing in their own telehealth platforms.
Okay.
But others are kind of holding on to the old ways,
Yeah.
a little hesitant to really embrace the digital side of things.
So it's challenges and opportunities for a company like HIMS and HERS.
Yeah, for sure.
Some are playing catch up and some are already ahead.
Right. But it's not just about the technology. It's a whole different way of thinking about care.
Okay.
And I think HIMS and HERS, with their focus on specialized care, personalized solutions, they really represent that new way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach, and it's saying, look, everyone's different.
Right.
Let's tailor the care to the individual.
It's like healthcare is finally catching up to other industries.
Yeah.
Think about how we shop for clothes, how we book travel. We expect things to be personalized.
Right.
So why not healthcare?
Exactly. And I think that trend is going to continue
Yeah.
as technology gets better and as people, they want more control
Right.
over their health.
But it's not all smooth sailing.
No, definitely not.
What are some of the hurdles that telehealth needs to overcome?
Well, data privacy, data security,
Yeah.
those are huge.
Of course.
I mean, telehealth relies on collecting all this information.
Right.
So making sure that's protected, that's crucial.
Especially with all the, cyber attacks and data breaches we hear about.
Exactly. People are understandably nervous about sharing that kind of information if they don't think it's going to be safe.
What can providers do to address those concerns?
I think transparency is really important.
Okay.
Being upfront about how they collect the data, store it, use it,
Yeah.
implement strong security measures,
Right.
and communicate that to their users.
So it's not just about having the tech, it's about using it responsibly.
Absolutely.
But data privacy isn't the only issue.
No.
There are also concerns about, the quality of the care,
Right.
especially as telehealth expands into more complex areas.
Yeah, like mental health, chronic disease management.
It's one thing to treat a minor cold or something virtually. It's
Right.
another thing to manage, a serious condition.
Exactly.
So how do we make sure that virtual care is as good as in-person care?
Well, it starts with the providers.
Okay.
Their expertise, their qualifications, their experience. That's even more important in a virtual setting.
Right, because you don't have that physical exam.
Right. You need to have strong clinical protocols,
Yeah.
evidence-based treatments,
Mm.
ongoing training.
So the bar is even higher
It is.
for telehealth providers.
It is.
But it's not just about the individual doctors and nurses.
No, the whole system needs to adapt.
Yeah.
How we train people, how we pay for virtual care,
Right.
how we integrate it into existing systems.
And the FDA and their stance on compounded medications, right? That's a whole other layer.
It is. It's a constantly evolving landscape.
It's like we're building the plane while we're flying it.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
It's moving so fast that the rules and regulations are struggling to keep up.
It's true.
So how do we navigate all of this? How do we make sure we're innovating responsibly?
I think it requires collaboration,
Okay.
open dialogue
Mhm.
between the providers,
Right.
regulators, policymakers, consumers.
Yeah, everyone needs to be at the table.
Everyone, we need to talk about the benefits,
Yeah.
the risks, and we need to come up with rules that encourage innovation but also protect people.
So it's not just about competition.
Right.
It's about working together to create a system where telehealth is safe, effective, and accessible for everyone.
Exactly. And companies like HIMS and HERS, they have a role to play in this,
Mm-hmm.
not just by providing services,
Right.
but by being leaders, by advocating for those responsible practices that benefit everyone.
Well, I got to say, this deep dive has really given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
We started with HIMS and HERS, and we ended up talking about the whole future of healthcare.
It's all connected.
It is, but what are some key takeaways? What should they remember as they navigate all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that telehealth is here to stay.
Okay.
It's not a trend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fundamental shift.
Right.
And personalization, that's the future.
Yeah.
People want that tailored experience.
Makes sense.
And the providers that can deliver that, they're going to be the ones that succeed.
Okay, that's two.
Mm-hmm.
Any others?
Don't underestimate the importance of trust.
Okay.
In a world where healthcare is becoming more digital, more data-driven,
Right.
trust is everything.
Yeah.
Providers need to be transparent, ethical, and they need to be absolutely committed to protecting people's privacy and delivering that quality care.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about the human element.
It is.
It's about building those relationships based on trust.
Absolutely.
That's a great point to end on.
It is.
So that's a wrap on our deep dive into HIMS and HERS and the future of telehealth. Hope you found it insightful, thought-provoking. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged in shaping the future of your health and well-being.